Okay. All right, everybody. Any glares coming in the house? I hope so. Again, I am doing this 2 nights in a row, which is a very, very weird thing for me. I normally do not do that, but I okay. Well, there's Boston Hippie again. Hey, Penguin, how's it going? Couple of faces that were not here last night. So I do like to see people I haven't seen in a while. Um, so last night um, I went over a particular subject regarding an email that I got uh, through the channel. I love it. I gotta tell you guys, I fucking love it when you guys email me, man. It is so awesome when you do because it gets me really excited. It gets me totally fired up about this all over again. And then I can't wait to come on here and talk with you guys, especially when it's a suggestion for a subject to go over. And I'm glad you caught the replay, Penguin. But anyway, um, so and I gotta say I had a lot of fun doing it. And so I really hope that continues. I really hope that anybody, and like I said, if you want to remain anonymous, I'm going to assume you want to be anonymous unless you tell me otherwise. Um, and and I will only refer to who I'm talking to by first name, and because I do want to respect people's anonymity on here. Anonymity. Sorry, I always confuse the M and the N in that word. But moving on, I got another email. So that is my explanation for going on 2 nights in a row. And I'm going to tell you something funny. So yesterday I did the dumbest shit in the world. I've never done it. I've had the same phone. I've had the same iPhone for I don't know, 3 years, I guess. Um, I guess it's been 3 years since the iPhone 7 first came out. So I've had the same iPhone 7 for forever. And I sorry. Okay, here we go. So anyway, I apologize for that. I got a little distracted there for a second, but I got another email from from another listener, and it really got me excited. Um, and I really couldn't wait to come back on and talk with you guys. Hey, Finn. Um, and please in the chat let me know if you guys can hear me okay because the thing is saying no data and it's spinning, and sometimes when that's happening, you guys can still hear me. So I don't really know how that's working, but I think all it does is it ends up delaying, and then I'm not really totally in sync with the chat, and there's a delay in the chat anyway, so I don't think that's a big deal. But so if you have trouble hearing me at any point, please just let me know in the chat. I'm going to be paying attention to that from the corner of my eye as I talk to you guys. Um, but I try not to stare at it too much because then I lose my train of thought. But and I don't prepare for these things so much anymore. I don't. I used to kind of write bullet points of what I was going to go over, but you guys seem to like it when I pretty much just, you know, kind of blurt out what's going off the top of my head anyway. So um, I I'm trying to make a habit of that, and hopefully I just naturally get better at that, and get better at eliminating some of the ums and you knows that people have pointed out that I say too much. But anyway, um, I I got an email. Well, first off, I'll go ahead and tell you I I, I haven't been able to check my email all day because I haven't been home. And yesterday, like a jackass, I well, not yesterday, but the day before, I put my bed sheets to wash, and my phone was on my bed, and you already know where this is going. And in mid cycle, I realized that I couldn't find my phone, and put two and two together, and that's where it was. And I got it out of the wash, and miraculously, being in an otter box, it was soaking wet and yet still on. And so I've heard that if you shut off the phone, or I've heard that when it gets wet and it shuts off, you're supposed to let it dry. You're supposed to stick it in rice. You're supposed to, but what you do not do is try to turn on the phone while it's wet, because it'll short out, and then your phone is totally fucked. So luckily, it actually never turned off, but it did get damaged. Like, the LED screen is a little weird and weird looking, and it just wouldn't charge either. I was having a really hard time charging it, but I think it's actually coincidentally just my charger. And so I used a coworker's charger today, and then I charged my phone, and I was able to check my email. And to my pleasant surprise, I found an email from another listener who caught last night's live. So hopefully this creates a trend with you guys, and you guys will send me emails. Um, and I'm going to share that email throughout the broadcast, and try to make a habit of doing that. Hey, Amy, what's up? I don't know if I already said hi to you, but I was in the middle of talking when I saw you popped up there. Um, but anyway, the email is theglarer360 at gmail.com. So please, please use it. I love to hear from you guys. It totally gets me excited, totally gets me fired up, and then I just can't wait to respond to them through these lives and get everyone else's input on the subjects that you asked me to go over. Now this one's a little tricky. Yesterday, the one yesterday was more personal, and he actually, I just saw right now that he emailed me again. He listened to the live last night, and he gave me a lot more information on his story. So, seeing as I just looked at it, uh, I haven't even had a chance to read it. All I saw that it was a long email. So I'm not. I'm gonna carefully look over that. I don't know how much I'm gonna follow up on it, but I'm gonna do my best. So John, be patient. Uh, and since nobody knows who you are, nobody's judging you, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. But I I'll do my best to follow up on it, and follow up on it as thoroughly as I can. But tonight, I'm going to talk about a very interesting email that's of a different um, it's of a different what's the word I want to use? This last night's was more of a personal matter. This is more of a social issue matter, and definitely pertains to this channel and what this channel is what I'm trying to do with it. And uh, so, as you can see, the title of this is Acceptance and Adaptation, which are two of the four-part of the A's in the Glarer, which is gratitude, rationality, or gratitude, logic, um, acceptance, accountability, uh, adaptation, accountability, rationality, empathy, and resilience. So um, these two are extremely important, and I'm going to get into why they're very important to me personally and how I try to live my life. And I'm going to go ahead and read this email from Robert. Um, and it states, "Hi, Will. My name is Robert, and I have been watching your channel for some time as your YouTube lives are thought provoking and enjoyable. I would love for you to discuss the topic of people being able to agree to disagree and having tolerance and civility for others' views and beliefs, even if it goes against their own beliefs. Several weeks ago, I was at a bar with friends after a day of volunteering for the group Habitat for Humanity, which fixes up homes for lower income families. We were wearing our shirts with the Habitat for Humanity logo and having a good gathering. During our visit at the bar, a guy sat near our group and seemed to be agitated. After a short period, he suddenly came over and said that he thought our Habitat group was just a fucking liberal bullshit project and that we were helping poor people not worthy of being helped." Wow. Okay. We were all civil to the guy, and I told him that it was a group that we believed in, and if I didn't respect the organization, if he didn't respect the organization, then that was cool. The guy seemed to get more and more agitated and continued hurling insults at our group until one of our guys got pissed off and confronted this man. Things got crazy, out of control, and was on the verge of getting heated and even physical. In college, I worked as a bouncer at a club, and I saw that things were getting very ugly, and I intervened between the guy in our group and the other man and diffused the situation. It seems like this is becoming the norm in the way people convey or express their difference in opinions or beliefs, and I find it troubling. There was a time when people could have a difference of opinion in politics, personal beliefs, etc., and have a civil, rational conversation without being ugly or flying into a rage. It seems that people fly off the handle over just about anything these days. I mean, look at the various Watts case groups on social media and how the members, with most of the people not even personally knowing each other, tear each other apart personally about the difference of opinions about a murder case. The group's fighting has the group's backfighting has gotten so bad I don't want to think about the fucking case anymore. I have been in chat groups and even in public gatherings that seem to become instantly toxic if an opinion or thought goes against the norm, and I know of people who are becoming hesitant on expressing any personal opinions or thoughts out of fear of ridicule or backlash. You seem to be a straight shooter with strong convictions, and I would love to hear how you feel about the dying art of level-headed conversation and being about to be civil even if a person's ideals or ideology are totally different of your own. I love how you have an open forum that is inclusive and respectful of everyone in your chat, and I appreciate your taking your time to read this email. Um, okay, so first of all, Robert, I want to thank you. I believe I wrote you a written response thanking you for this, but I want to go ahead and, you know, uh, on the channel here publicly, thank you for your kind words um, on this email, uh, and I want to say thank you because I think it really feels to me like you get it. and you really get what I'm trying to do here, and you get the kind of person that I'm personally trying to be. So I want to thank you for making that observation and expressing it so kindly in this email. So seriously, man, that really hit home a lot. It really did. So thanks a lot for that, man. Um, now, I don't know I don't know how what's the word I want to use here? I'm trying to find the right word. Um, I don't know how much conviction I'm going to have when it comes to expressing my opinion here on this subject, because I actually have a lot of really strong feelings about it, and it's important to me that I remain rational. So I do have very, very strong opinions here, and it's really ironic too, because I want to point something out about. I want to point something out here. Um, when I exercise self-awareness, exercising self-awareness has become very, very fun for uh, this being an example of that. Because when I have these, I'm going to be completely honest and just totally get, you know, verbally naked here with you guys about myself. When I think about this issue that Robert is talking about, and I'm not talking about the Watts case. I've already talked about the Watts case and how I feel about that, and that might come up, but I'm not. We're talking about something much bigger here. I think that Robert only put in the Watts case thing because a lot of you come from uh, groups in the Watts case. A lot of you first discovered me from Kay's discovery of me, and her and my interaction together. So uh, it made sense for him to uh, it made sense for him to use that as a reference because he knows that I'm going to relate to that, and that's absolutely true. I left the Watts groups, all of the Watts groups. I don't belong to one fucking Watts group anymore, simply for the same exact reasons that he said in this email, which I have expressed openly in past lives and broadcasts on this channel. But uh, and he's absolutely right. I've talked about it a lot. It's there's a lot of bullshit. People just can't seem to express their opinions, but it's not just about that. It's about other things too. And what he's talking about is mostly political. And I have a lot of political opinions. I really honestly do. And for anybody who's actually friends with me personally on Facebook, you'll see that I have some political posts. Um, and in all fairness, I'd say they're more anti-political posts. Um, I have an understanding, for the most part, of what's going on politically in the world today, but I don't let all the smoke and mirrors get to me. I don't let myself get caught up in that, um, because we all know that the media it's very mainstream media today is extremely biased. This is just a fact. It's extremely biased, and things are brought to our attention by entities that are interested in promoting their own agenda, promoting things that will enforce their own agenda. And I'm not. I'm just not interested in buying into that shit. Um, so to me, all of it, all of it right now is a complete and total shit show. and I find it nothing but entertaining. It doesn't make me mad. None of it angers me. None of it gets me emotional because, I mean, what's the point? What's the point of letting that happen? Why am I going to let that make me mad? You know, I mean, I and here's the thing. I'm not a very educated guy. So if I were to get into a political debate with someone um, who is educated and who is passionate about the subject of politics, they're gonna win hands down. You know, so I'm not even gonna pretend as though I'm in some way you know educated and intelligent enough to go toe to toe with someone who is. But I do have my opinions. A lot of people have their opinions. Most people have their opinions. But my overall opinion right now is it's exactly what I just said it is. It's a fucking shit show. It's absolutely madness. It's absolute madness right now. You've got a president who who uh, you got this guy who's I mean, when he was first running, I thought it was a joke. You know, I honestly thought it was a joke. But it's so funny because as time goes on and as all this goes on, I started to look at it less uh, like it was a social something that there's this serious like a major social issue and it's our country and it's the world we're living in and I should be freaking out about it. I'm seeing it less and less in that light and I'm looking at it more and more like it's pro fucking wrestling. That's how I'm looking at it. And I'm looking at Donald Trump as being the biggest fucking heel in pro wrestling and because and like pro wrestling when I watch it, the biggest fucking heel becomes the most entertaining to me and then I start to just kind of inadvertently find myself rooting for the heel. You know, The Rock was the biggest heel in the world, but he got so good at it that people started to cheer for him. And that's sort of what's happening with me right now. And that's not to say that I am a Trump supporter. I am not a Trump supporter by any means whatsoever, but I am also not a liberal. I am definitely not a Bernie Sanders supporter. I am definitely not a Elizabeth Warren supporter. I am definitely not a uh, Joe Biden supporter. I definitely not a Hillary Clinton supporter. All of these people to me are fucking clowns. Every single one of them. And it's social media that's made it that way. Social media has made it that way. People with their fucking memes, they're great. The memes are hilarious. So because everything is now becoming it's all being displayed as satirical, I'm seeing it as satirical. And I'm worrying about it less and less. I'm getting to a point where I'm just like, whatever, dude. If fucking if if a nuclear holocaust happens, then I guess it's our fucking time to go. Fuck it. I mean, because what kind of control am I going to have over that? Because we all know at this point that voting doesn't do any good. I mean, if you sit here and you're going to sit here and tell me that my fucking vote counts, then you're full of shit. Sorry, you just there's just no way. You know, there's you're just not going to tell me that, and I'm going to believe you because it doesn't make any sense. You know, it's been proven otherwise. Let's just put it that way. But to get back to Robert's email, um, He's absolutely right, and it's a scary thing, and this is, and the point I'm getting at by explaining all of this to you, seeing it all as satire at this point and not having any control over it makes it completely and totally irrational and illogical for me to get emotional over it and get offended over it and get pissed off at somebody who's literally in the same position I am. I don't care if they're rich. I don't care if they're poor. I don't care if they're a minority. I don't care if they're white. I don't care about any of that. I don't give a shit because the fact is that's going on, and we're all here watching it from the ground, and it's silly to act like we have any control over it. It's silly to me, and it's even sillier to me for us to fight amongst each other over it. It doesn't make any sense. It's completely illogical, and I refuse to do that. I just fucking refuse to do it. And you know, for this guy, and it's really funny, for this guy to say that, I don't know anything about Habitat for Humanity. I don't know anything about it. I don't know what they do. Uh, The only thing I know about them is that Robert just said that they help uh, people in poverty rebuild their homes. That. If you asked me what they did, I would say I've heard of the organization, but I couldn't tell you what they do. But um, for this person to have a problem with that, I obviously they're, the obvious is there. They're in a bar, right? They're in a bar, so obviously alcohol's involved, right? So, you know, it's fair to say that this person was drunk, and this group of guys from Habitat from Humanity were probably drunk too. And at least it's fair to assume that, because I can honestly tell you that 99 out of 100 times I've ever been in a bar, I walked out drunk. So, there's that. But I feel as though this guy has some deep rooted. We sit there and we watch TV and we watch, we go on Google and we Google shit, and we you know, we get our information, and where we get our information from are other people with opinions. How much of the information that we're getting via television or via the internet or the radio. I mean, who the fuck listens to the radio anymore? But anyway, how much of this information are we getting that are actual facts as opposed to being someone's opinion? So, again, it seems completely illogical to me for us to sit here and argue over what is undoubtedly just someone else's fucking opinion. You know, just because you word it a certain way doesn't necessarily make it a fact. Just because you use a particular media platform to 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 express this opinion, it doesn't make it a fact. It's still an opinion. You give a shit how you word it. You know what I'm doing now is I'm stating opinions. That's all I'm doing. I'm stating fucking opinions. And it's real fucking easy, man. All you have to do, all you have to do, if you don't like my opinion, unsubscribe, click on something else. It's it's real easy. It's real easy. Now you can engage in a debate with me if you want. You can write in the comments something, you know, and say, hey, I don't agree with this and I don't agree with that, and you have every right to that opinion, you know. But it, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to engage in a confrontation with you on any level, whether it's a debate, whether it's an argument. I'm. It doesn't mean I'm. It doesn't. I sure as shit don't fucking have to. So you know. But here's the thing. I mean, we're all entitled to our opinions. We're all fucking entitled to them. So when you get somebody, and this is the thing. Normally, lately, my biggest peeve when it comes to either side, the left or the right, I get more annoyed with the left because the right isn't trying to shut me the fuck up. That's my whole thing. I don't give a fuck about what anybody else does. I genuinely don't care what anyone else does. As long as you aren't trying to get in the way of what I am wanting to do with my life. I want to do my own thing. And I want to do it on my terms. And it's none of your fucking business how I do it. As long as I'm doing it at my own expense and I'm not hurting anybody. Right? So, who the fuck are you to tell me what I can and can't say or do if it doesn't affect you? If all you have to do is just not fucking listen. All you have to do is stay the fuck out of my way. If it doesn't affect you directly, you don't have to worry about what I'm doing. You don't have to worry about what I'm saying. You just don't. So, when I'm sitting here and I'm reading about some guy who just had I mean, I think we're just talking about a fucking bully. We're talking about a bully who has some strong opinions, and he just felt the need to to just bully a group of guys that were apparently trying to help people. You know, apparently trying to do a nice thing. You know what I mean? And I get it. Sometimes it's annoying. Sometimes you get people that are doing these really nice things, and they're going and they're building houses, but then they want to bring a fucking camera crew with them, and they want to post on their social media and say, "Oh, well, look what I'm doing today. I'm helping people." Like, man, so that right there just takes the piss out of what you're fucking doing. Just fucking help people. Why do you got to go around and tell people? And then the excuse is always, oh, well, I'm setting an example and I want to show people that this is what I'm doing because I want to inspire people to do the same thing. No, dude, that's not what you're doing. That's not what you're doing. Because we all know that these organizations are out there. And if people want to do something, they're gonna fucking do it. And nobody is sitting there looking at you doing something and saying, "Oh, well, because this guy's doing it, I'm gonna go do it." Maybe if you're a celebrity, maybe that's possible because people are fucking idiots. And we follow fucking celebrities, and we always want to know what the fuck the celebrities. What's the next thing that this fucking celebrity's gonna do? For some reason, we all give a shit. You know what you know, the guy in the fucking latest action movie, we give a shit who he's married to and who he's voting for. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm probably never going to tell you who I'm voting for. I'm probably not even going to fucking vote. I'm probably not even going to fucking vote. I'll be honest with you. First party, second party, third party, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same shit. It's all a bunch of people trying to get their own. Uh, they're trying to you know create a scenario to where their agenda is met. That's all they're trying to do. Somebody always has something to benefit from it. And it, all I give a shit about, all I give a shit about is that I get to have the freedom to say and do what I want on my terms. So whatever political party allows me to do that, well, that's the one that I'm behind. But here's the thing. There is none right now that's doing that. Not to my knowledge. You know, maybe the Libertarian Party, maybe. But, I'm sure they have an agenda too. And I, I this lady today at my job, coincidentally, I overheard her telling somebody else um, that they were having the discussion over the rebel flag. Now I live in Tennessee. Okay, I live in Tennessee right now, and it's you know, it's for the first time in my life. For the first time in my fucking life, I actually saw a guy wearing a Trump shirt, and it was funny because it was like black, and it had this crazy, and it you know, it had something to do with you know 2020, and it didn't say "Make America Great Again." It said something else. I can't remember what it was, but it was really obnoxious, um, in the sense that like it was like a band shirt, and I remember thinking like, what's the point of that? This isn't. It's not to try to sway people into voting uh, for Trump. The point of wearing that shirt was to express, hey, I'm a Trump supporter and I love Trump and fuck you if you don't like it. That was the point of this person wearing that shirt. You could just tell. It was the point of the shirt's existence. And the thing about it is, it all it did was make me laugh. You know, all it did was just make me kind of chuckle and kind of shake my head a little, like, okay, But it didn't even matter. It didn't even matter. You know, it didn't. It didn't. It didn't provoke any real thought other than what was the point of him wearing that shirt. It didn't provoke any thought of I wonder what Trump's doing. That's getting these people so excited. Um, you know, uh, None of those thoughts went through my head. No thought as to what Trump's agenda went through my head. No thought as to what anyone who was against Trump and their agenda was going through my head. All I saw was a guy wearing a shirt and feeling some odd need to let the world know that he was a Trump supporter. So, eh, yeah, sorry, but politics have become pro wrestling. That's all it's become, and nobody's fucking seeing it. And the only difference is because there's the illusion that there's going to be a difference in your life one way or the other. Who's president? Then you know it's causing us to get at each other's throats. It's causing us to argue amongst each other. It's causing us to alienate our loved ones because that is fucking happening. That's fucking happening. You know, I have a buddy. I have a really good friend I was in a band with, and we got along really well, and we made really really good music. Well, I wouldn't say really good music together. It, it was okay, but we had a we had a really good dynamic as far as making music goes. Is the way I should put it. Him and I did we melded very well uh, when we were putting music together and we were composing it together, and when we were performing it. And he, I told him a while back that I wanted to start a podcast, um, and I was going to do something along the lines of this, more or less. What I wanted to do was I wanted to. Uh, there was a psychotherapist that I happen to know that I've been old friends with who I wanted to co-host with, and I would still actually love to do that, but not necessarily with her because she turned out to be kind of flaky in that sense. So that just never happened. But it was an idea about 2 years ago, and my friend who I made music with, he currently makes music with his wife, and and it's really good. It's not necessarily what I'm usually into, but it's very like synth pop kind of stuff, and I wanted to use his music as theme music for my show, and um, and it would fit very well. It would fit for this very well. I really wish I could, still to this day, and I would proudly do so. Now, and and the main reason I wanted to do it, honestly, was because I wanted to kind of spread his music out there. It's him and his wife that do the music together, and I think it's beautiful that they do that together, and they're still out there and they play shows and they record and they put their music out there. And I wanted to use my platform to help spread his music, and and so I wanted to use one particular track as the theme music, and he was all for it. Um, and then maybe maybe a year ago, he texted me out of the blue and told me that he did not feel comfortable with me using his music and affiliating it with my podcast, and I wondered why. Um, and I asked him why, and he said because your political views, you're very open about your political views, and I don't want to be associated with your political views. And here's the thing: is I don't have any real strong political views. I have very strong opinions against certain political views, but I don't have any strong political views of my own. My political views consist of what I just explained. I want to be able to do what the fuck I want and say what the fuck I want, period. So, um, so, and he's a big Bernie Sanders supporter, right? And one of the things that kind of typically comes with being a Bernie Sanders supporter, and that seems to be slowly changing for the better as of late. I would be remiss in not acknowledging that, but um, one of the things that comes with that is liberals like to tell you what you can and can't say. Liberals like to tell you what you can and can't do. This is okay to say, but this isn't okay to say. This is okay to say as long as you say it this way, but in no way whatsoever can you say it this way, because if you say it this way, then that means that you are this type of person. And I don't like that bullshit at all. I don't play that bullshit, and I don't buy into it. I never have. And uh I'm very open about that. I'm very, very, very open about that on my personal Facebook page. And him being a close friend of mine, obviously he's a friend of mine on Facebook, and I guess he took notice of this and then decided he didn't want to be affiliated with me publicly. And I and it hurt. And the only reason it hurt was because all of a sudden it felt like everything that him and I ever did musically meant absolutely nothing because of our difference of opinions politically. And I find that fucking ridiculous. I find that asinine. So, um, I, and this happens all the time. You know, I've had people unfriend me. Uh, I've had family unfriend me. People have just distanced themselves from me over it. And I see people distance themselves from each other over it all the time. I see husbands and wives fighting over it. You know, I, I can't. I can't relate to that mentality, man. I can't relate to that mentality. And the fact that, in Robert's email, he's saying that people that they were gonna get into a physical fight over it is crazy to me. You know, and what's funny is he was the liberal. Him and his group of friends were the liberals, and this other person is the conservative. And so the conservatives are supposedly sitting there, you know, trying to say, yeah, you have a right to this and you have a right to that, and it's just a big shit show. You've got the conservatives saying, well, you have these rights and you have that right, but yet they're trying to shut down liberal media because it's fake news, right? And you know, here's the thing: is okay, maybe it is fake news. As a matter of fact, a lot of it fucking is. You know, from the left or the right, there's a lot of fake news getting thrown around back and forth from both sides. But I personally choose to ignore it. I'm not out there trying to shut anybody up. I'm not out there, you know, picketing and saying, boycotting this, and you know, if anything, maybe I'm boycotting the news to a certain degree, but I'm not boycotting it. If I feel like watching the news, I'll watch the news. If a headline catches my eye, I'll watch it. But I just don't invest a lot into it. That's my whole thing. Is I don't invest a lot into it, and not enough to make me get angry, not enough to make me get pissed off that somebody that I'm close to doesn't agree with me, that where I I feel like I can't relate to him on any level anymore. That's fucking crazy. That's totally fucking nuts, dude. So going back to you know I do that. I get sorry about that. I get off. I get on a rant. I start to talk about something, and then I kind of get on a rant, and I get off subject, and I start ranting. But the lady who I overheard her at work talking about, um, she was talking about uh, the rebel flag. Okay, they were having a discussion over the rebel flag, and really she was just being loud, and the person next to her was just kind of laughing at what she was saying, but not laughing at her, but just kind of in a way of just being polite, as kind of being engaged, but she wasn't expressing any opinions at all. And it was funny too because she was wearing a shirt that has a Tennessee flag on it. So you could tell that she's Southern. And she probably has her opinions more or less. But she seemed a lot more rational. Um, and the the person talking about the rebel flag, she was talking about how she was like, I can't stand how when I say, that a rebel flag is racist, and they argue with me and tell me that it's not racist, that it's a point of Southern pride, and it represents Southern pride. That's bullshit. That's total fucking bullshit. And but the problem with her argument was she was right. She just didn't know why she was right. She didn't she was just being just as judgmental as the people she was accusing of being. She was being just as prejudgmental as the people that she was accusing. So this is where I kind of had to interject. I mean, big surprise there. I don't like to keep my mouth shut. So I totally intervened in this conversation because she's sitting there going, don't fucking tell me that if I see you driving a big truck and you've got a rebel flag on you, you're a racist. And I was just like, whoa, whoa, stop right there. Hold on. Now, that might be true. First of all, that might be true. Who knows? But that doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily true. So you're just jumping to conclusions right there, and you're being completely presumptuous and totally unfair. Um, but the fact of the matter is, yes, the fact of the matter is, a rebel flag is absolutely the origin of it comes from racism. I'll explain why. Because the rebel flag is the flag of an army that was put together to fight freedom of laborers who were working for free. And the reason why they were put to work for free was because of the color of their skin, because they, for some reason, did not deserve wages based on the color of their skin. They were not considered people. They were not considered human beings who deserved wages for their work. That is the epitome of fucking racism. So, yes, sorry, but and so the rebel flag is a representation. It was the representation of an army that was designed and put together to fight for this cause, to fight for the cause of having free labor because they didn't want to pay labor costs. It's that simple. I mean, it's just that simple. They felt like, okay, well, black people are not good enough to be paid wages. That's it. So yeah, that's the epitome of racism. So yes, the rebel flag is absolutely a representation of racism. I don't care what the fuck you tell me. It absolutely is. There's no argument there. You know? Sure, it might represent Southern pride. It might be the reason why you wave it and have it hanging in front of your house. But that's the origin of it. That's where it comes from. That's what it is. And there's nothing that's going to change that. That's just the way that is. So it's absolutely racist. Of course it's racist. But you're wrong for just assuming that anybody who has a rebel flag is a racist. That's they may not know what the fuck they're talking about. You know, I, I've known kids growing up that had fucking, you know, big banners of with Che Guevara's face hanging on on their bedroom window, but they didn't even know who the fucking guy was. They thought he was just something off of a Rage Against the Machine album. But they have no idea what this guy did. They have no idea that this guy slaughtered millions of people. Well, not millions, but thousands of people. This guy was a piece of shit. This guy committed genocide. So, and they don't know anything about him. They don't even know his name, you know? But that doesn't mean that they support genocide. It just means that they're ignorant. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. They're uneducated. It's, that doesn't make them people who want to murder, who want to support someone who murders thousands of people, or has murdered thousands of people. That's not what that that's a crazy thing to assume of somebody. And yeah, Amy, that's see that's the thing. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. You just said the Dukes of Hazzard General Lee. I don't even know how I feel about that because apparently I heard something. I didn't actually read it anywhere or anything like that. Um, but supposedly they're trying to they either succeeded on doing it or trying to take old reruns of Dukes of Hazzard off the air because of the rebel flag being on the General Lee's roof. And I think that's fucking ridiculous because I when I was a little kid, I would fucking draw the rebel flag for fun because it was on the rooftop of the General Lee. I didn't know anything about the Civil War. I didn't know anything about racism. I didn't know anything about the South versus the North. I didn't know anything about any of that shit. You know what I saw? I saw the fucking top of a cool ass fucking car on a TV show that I watched that with a girl who wore really short shorts, and I couldn't understand what was happening to my body when I looked at her. And there was a fast car, and there was an idiot driving in a police car with a dog, and and some fat idiot with a white suit on, and those guys could never win, and these two guys were making the cops look like idiots, and it made me laugh. that's that's all that's all I saw, you know. So was I a was I a 5-year old racist for drawing a rebel flag? No, no, no. And then this same lady, she's like, yeah. After I made the point, I was like, this is where. So yes, you're right. It's absolutely racist. But here's the thing: this is America, and they have every right. They've, you know, they have every right to, in my opinion, to hang their rebel flag wherever they want. They have every right to wear a rebel flag on their on their jacket. They can do whatever the fuck they want. You know, I mean, this is America. You can do whatever you want. Freedom of speech does not mean, hey, you can say this with conditions. It doesn't work that way. Freedom of speech means no matter what the fuck your opinions are, you have the right to express them peacefully. You have the right to express them. And here was her response. Her response was, well, that they also have the right to get punched in the face for wearing a rebel flag. She fucking literally said that to me. And I said, well, no. No. That's not how this works. You know? You're you want freedoms, but you want other people who are Americans to not have freedoms because you don't like what their opinions are. Whether they're right or wrong, it just boils down to the fact that you don't like them. You know, that's all that is. You know, I don't. I, if I see a swastika somewhere, it's gonna make my stomach turn. But I'm gonna take comfort overall in the grand scheme of things. I'm gonna take comfort in the fact that I live in a society where anybody has the right to wear whatever they want. They have the right to decorate their home however they want. That to me, that comfort totally, totally overpowers my disgust for what their opinions are. Absolutely, 100%. So, I mean, uh, you know, uh, that's a big issue, man. You know, you have. Uh, Let me see. Before I make this next comment, I'm gonna read Wednesday's Child. Hey, how you doing, Wednesday's Child? Um, that's is that just a clever name, or is it like a really clever name, and you only come out on Wednesdays and get on YouTube? Um, if so, that's actually pretty cool. So Wednesday's Child, you're saying white nationalists here have hijacked the English flag here, even when England are playing in the World Cup. It makes me feel uncomfortable to see the flag everywhere. Huh. Um, are you talking about Union Jack? Are you talking about the British flag, Union Jack? Um, I'm sorry, I don't know that much about. I'm assuming you're in England, so I don't know that much about the history of England or what's even going on there. But yeah, yeah, Amy, you're right. If you rewrite history, you will repeat history. That's a very, very excellent point because history has been rewritten over and over again. All for what? To cater to someone's agenda. It's what people in power do. Um, okay, no, the English flag. See, that's how little I know. Wednesday's Child. I honestly thought that the English flag was Union Jack. That's what I thought it was. Um, that's how little I know about geography. So I apologize, or world history. Okay, I see it. Flag of England. Wow. So the white nationalists have taken this thing and claimed it as their own. So now, whenever you see it somewhere, it has made you uncomfortable, is what you're saying, basically. Um, I mean, but see, that's funny to me though, and I don't mean funny, haha. I mean, if I they've hijacked it, sure, but is it still the is it still the English flag? Because if it's still the English flag, then okay, yeah, I understand now. I understand the Union Jack is the British flag, and then the English flag. Right? Okay, it's no longer Britain; it's England. I got it. Um, but here's the thing, though. I mean, they. That's my point. Is if the Star Spangled Banner being the national anthem here, all of a sudden, neo Nazis started singing it as their song. I'm not gonna all of a sudden think, well, it's a racist song. I'm still gonna think of it as our national anthem, and I'm gonna sing it with pride. And then I'm gonna tell fucking any neo-Nazi to go fuck off, you know, because that song means to me what it means to me. So, in my opinion, that flag it should still mean what it's supposed to mean to you. That shouldn't have to change, and it shouldn't make you uncomfortable. And when that happens, they win. You know, people can hijack whatever the fuck they want. It doesn't necessarily make it so. You know, right. So, Amy, you've got a fun question here. So, what are my thoughts on removing, destroying Civil War statues or Confederates? I get the idea, but I still think that they should be preserved somewhere in a museum. It happened. I completely and totally agree with you. Remember, I live in the South. There are still national parks here. Well, I saw one in Georgia. And actually, I was just recently in Gatlinburg, and there's a lot of history there too, and and it's Confederate history, you know. And those people, yeah, I get it. They take pride in some of that, some of those things because, you know, whether we like it or not, their ancestors, these residents of these places, their ancestors fought in these wars, so they take some pride in that. But these people also live and work amongst people of different races, and you know, they're not all racists. You know, some are, but I agree with you in the sense that it fucking happened. You're not going to change the fact that it happened. So it's crazy to me to try to act like and try to erase it from something, you know, to remove these things from where they were because you don't like what it once represented. The fact is, it did happen, and I, you know, make your own fucking opinion about it. But we have a right to know what actually happened. Our children have a right to be educated on on history of on the history of wherever they are. So yeah, and you're in northern Florida too, aren't you, Amy? Right. I agree with you completely, Amy. This isn't the way to do it. I don't feel that this is the way to do it. Um, and I knew Robert's email was going to open up a whole fucking can of worms on on free speech and things of this nature, and which is why I wanted to do it. um, yeah, yeah, you're in Orlando, yeah. Um, and I mean, these things they're just gonna fucking. They, we cannot change the fact that they happened. We cannot change the fact that that they happened. But here's the point: you you have this beautiful thing called free will, and you can make up your mind about anything you want. You can have your opinion on anything you want, you know. But what you don't get to do is rob other people of the means of forming their own opinions either. Of robbing them of the tools to form their own opinions. You don't get to do that. Nobody here gets to do that. I don't get to do it. You don't get to do it. I don't give a fuck who's president. They don't get to do it. So, you know, that's the thing is we got to be real careful. We got to be real careful because that knife, man, it cuts both ways. You know, you talk about. I remember. You know, I saw a video. It was about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, of somebody punching this one famous white nationalist in the face. He was being interviewed, and this Antifa dude just came up and just fucking punched him in the face. And then they put like music to it, and where like they just repeated the punch happening like to the beat of the music. And I thought it was hilarious. And I'm not gonna lie, a part of me enjoyed watching this guy get punched in the face because you know fuck that guy. But we had to somebody very close to me made a very valid point when I posted this video, and I said and I made a comment. I was like, it's absolutely okay. I don't condone violence, but it's absolutely okay to punch a Nazi in the face. um Somebody very close to me commented on that and was like, be very careful with that. And I said why, you know, what do you mean? And and they were like, well, you know, this is America. That guy has a right to feel how he wants. He has the right to speak about what he wants. And if that if we make it okay to forcefully, whether it be by us or whether it be by the government, to forcefully take that person's right away, and we forcefully shut this guy up and make him afraid to be able to express his opinion, well, shit, that's a slippery slope, because then all of a sudden we're opening the door to make it okay for anybody's opinions to be shut down, for anybody's right to express their opinions to be taken. And that's a very, very scary thing. So the bottom line is, if you're going to be happy, you're going to have to learn to accept that there are things going on around you that you're not going to fucking like. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is, man. You know? That's just the way it is. You're gonna have to fucking accept the fact that shit is happening around you that you're not gonna like. And then you're gonna have to adapt to it in some way or another. You're gonna have to learn to coexist with it. Because if you fight it, well, you're gonna be fighting an endless battle, man. It's endless. It's endless. It never stops. Because you are never, ever, 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 ever going to change the opinion of someone who's passionate about their opinion. It's not going to happen. Nobody's going to come along and change your opinion. If you're passionate about it, if you're truly passionate about it, you believe it in your heart of hearts that it's right, nobody's going to come along and change that, you know? But if you accept the fact that other people are going through that same thing, and you actually learn to empathize with that other person in the sense that you feel passionate about something and they feel passionate about something, whether these things agree with each other or not, then you can learn to coexist. And you can go about your business and you can make progress in your own personal life. But until here's the thing is until each of us can learn to just focus on our own self-improvement, you know, we're never going to progress, man. Everybody's too fucking worried about what the other person's doing and saying instead of worrying about what the fuck they're doing and saying. Mind your own fucking business. That's it. Mind your own fucking business. Focus on you for a change. Stop fucking focusing on so much on what other people are doing, and actually take a minute and look at yourself and see where you can improve and focus on that. And I promise you, if each person starts to do that, then your environment will change for the better. If you start to do that, your environment's going to change for the better. And if you're smart and you see the next person, if you see that somebody's already doing that, you see that somebody's focusing on their own shit and they're happy, and you're smart enough to follow that example, that's going to catch on. But until we start doing that, you know, it's never going to get any better. But the beauty of minding your own fucking business is you never have to worry about that shit. The beauty of minding your own fucking business is that you're never going to worry about that shit. Because if you're minding your own fucking business and worrying about yourself and worrying about your own self improvement, nobody's going to get in the way of that. Nobody can stop you from doing that. How the fuck is anybody going to stop you from trying to be a better person? It's physically impossible. Can't be done. So, you know, if you manage to be able to do that, I promise you, you're unstoppable as far as what your dreams are. You just figure it out. You're only worried about you. Your load just got way lighter. So that's all I'm doing right now. That's all I'm doing. I mean, okay. Let me look at the chat a little bit here. We've got some. I like this. Uh, this obviously got some people's wheels turning here. So um, Wednesday. Let's see. Okay, you're saying it didn't upset you. We were talking about the Well, you did say that it made you uncomfortable. Um, and the Nazis didn't necessarily hijack the swastika. The Buddhist, it was a Buddhist symbol. What you're thinking of is the Buddhist symbol that meant peace. And the Nazis, to my understanding, didn't hijack it. They took a very simple design, and there's actually a pretty clear difference between the two. Um, the swastika is that symbol kind of turned diagonally. Um, so if you look at the two of them, they're in a different angle. Um, so I could see where people would get that confused, but they didn't necessarily hijack it. I mean, I know the difference. Um, so again, that goes with self improvement. That's an example of self improvement right there. Because if I'm sitting there and I'm going, shit, man, I, there was this beautiful. If I'm Jewish and I'm going, man, there was this beautiful sign of peace, and then the Nazis took it. Well, no, what they did was they took that sign because they hated the Jews. If I had to guess, and the reason why they're so similar is they took it and then they kind of, in their own little way, perverted it by turning it to a different angle. And by turning it to a different angle, it's kind of expressing like a symbol of anti-Jew, right? So it's clearly a difference, so they're not trying to take that symbol. They're trying to say, and I'm not defending Nazis here, by the way. I want to be very clear about that. um, I'm just explaining what I'm getting, the logic that I'm seeing as far as them, what they were doing with that. I don't think that they would actually take, if they had this hatred for the Jewish people. I don't think that they would take a symbol that was important to their culture and use it as their own. If anything, they would take that symbol and alter it, um, in order to try to eliminate it. Uh, and that's a very sensitive subject. The 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 whole Jewish Holocaust thing, and everything, and it's very, very awful. And I honestly, uh, I don't think that there's ever been in history a more uh, disgusting act of genocide than what the Nazis did to the Jews, and and the war that it caused. I mean, hundreds of thousands of people dead over that war. I mean, it's why they called it World War II. I mean, the entire world was literally at war over this, and and it was a crazy time. And I don't know enough about it to really comment too much about it, um, because I wasn't there. I'm not old enough, uh, and and it's a horrible thing what happened to those people. It's absolutely terrible. Um, but but yeah, as far as that symbol goes, I don't think it's accurate to say that that they stole the symbol because, again, I feel as though that symbol is the Jewish people are still a very, very strong, powerful community, and I'm sure that that symbol is still a very, very powerful symbol and useful symbol for them and their beliefs. And I don't think that the Nazis using a swastika had any real effect on their beliefs in that symbol. So they didn't hijack anything. They didn't succeed in what they were trying to do. Um, because again, I feel it was a symbol of eliminating the the original symbol. It was an attempt to eliminate the original symbol, and I think that they failed at that because they failed at their attempts to eliminate the Jewish people. Um, so, fuck you, Nazis. You lost, idiots. Yes, Sunny Winters. Yeah, you seem to know more about it than I do. I appreciate you clearing that up. Thank you very, very much for that. But I'm sorry. I've been trying to make a conscious effort just for the people that are that listen to the replays. Um, I get really self-conscious about leaving dead air. So I've been meaning to verbally express the fact that I'm looking over the chat here because you know, this is alive. So um, I'm uh, I'm trying to look over the chats here because uh, a lot of people here have are participating and have some things to say, and I'm really happy about that. Um, right, Amy, I couldn't have said that better myself. I'm reading a comment that she posted earlier saying that the moment we start censoring or punishing people for opinions, we are no different than Hitler, Stalin, or North Korea. Yeah, and you're absolutely right about that. That's the entire point. Because if we start punishing people, if we start making laws where people can express their opinions freely, then what happens is if you break the law, then you're punished, right? So by definition, you're being punished for having opinions and expressing your opinions. And that's a very, very dangerous thing because that becomes fascism. There's no other way. There's nothing else. There's no other way to put that. Um, and you cannot. We this is the United States of America. This is this is the beauty of this place is that you can come here and build a life for yourself, and you can do it freely. And um, what I love about America is the tradition that you're accountable for your own outcome. So you're given all of the opportunity, you're given all of the freedom in the world. Um, you're given an opportunity, and that opportunity, the ultimate opportunity, is the freedom to be able to make your own decisions, and the freedom to be able to make your own decisions and make a life for yourself. So if you are unsuccessful, then that shit is on you, man. That shit is on you. I realize that for some people it's harder than others. But again, fuck it. If it's harder on you, then fucking work harder. That's it. That's strongly what I believe, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me when I say that, but it's the fucking truth. Right now, I'm one of the most unsuccessful people financially that I know. But I have a job. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my stomach. I have a healthy body. And it is because I work for that. I make that happen for myself. And the reason why I'm not financially successful today is for no other reason other than the fact that I made decisions prior that put me in the position that I'm in today. It's nobody else's fault. In fact, the people closest to me tried to get me to make better decisions, and I wouldn't listen to anyone. They tried to guide me in the right direction. And guess what? Those people are successful, and I'm not. If I hadn't been so stubborn and I had just listened to them, then I would be in a better position today. But I'm not complaining about the fact that I'm in the position that I'm in right now because I have nobody to blame for but myself. I take full accountability for that. I take absolute full responsibility and accountability for that. I am where I am today because I put me here. So I accept the fact that I'm here and I make the best of what I got. And it ain't bad. It ain't bad, you know? It ain't bad. I, I'm of the opinion there where if my phone finally takes a shit, like I was talking about earlier, if I can't charge it anymore and it takes a shit, truth is, I don't have the money to buy another phone. So I'll be fucked for a phone. But maybe I'm better off without a phone for a while. Am I going to survive without a phone? Yeah, I'll be fine. The only difference is I'm not going to be able to manage my fucking little tiny bank account at my fingertips. I'm not going to be able to sit there and communicate with people at the drop of a dime, you know? But I've got telephones at my job. People have phone numbers. If I need to talk to people or get a hold of people, I'll get a hold of them. I just don't have the luxury of a cell phone. And make no mistake, it is a luxury. It is not a necessity by any means. I have everything I need. I have a job. I have a roof over my head. I have clothing on my back. And I have food in my stomach. Now, I, I qualify for food stamps. My income is so low that I qualify for public assistance. But no, I don't want it. I would rather I would rather see it as a benefit that I live off eggs that are 60 cents a dozen, right? I could buy a shit ton of eggs. I throw away the yolks, I cook the whites. There, I'm getting my protein and I'm getting the diet that I need. I can afford olive oil, I can afford eggs, I can afford chicken in a can, and I can afford a big bag of a 5 pound bag of chicken breast. And that shit, I can make that shit feed me for 2 fucking weeks until I get paid again. That's what I pretty much live off. That's my diet for the most part. And then I have a little bit of money to play with. I have like not much, but a little bit of money to play with where I'll treat myself to a cheeseburger once in a blue moon, you know? And I'm a smoker, so I have money for cigarettes, right? So, and okay, Sonny, you're saying what would I like that I don't have? Well, shit, I'd like to have unlimited luxuries. Who wouldn't? You know, I don't even drive a car. I don't even drive a car. But the way that I see that right now, that's another expense because I don't need a car. I can walk to my job and I try to stay in shape. So again, that benefits me. I take that everything right now that I look at, I have the ability that I look that most people would look at as a disadvantage. I have made it an advantage for myself. I have managed to change the perception of that for myself to an advantage. That is what I've done. I'm sticking to a strict diet. Poverty helps me stick to that. you know, and I and I again, I walk everywhere. If I had a car, I'd have to come up with gas. I'd get fat because instead of walking to where I need to go, I'm going to be sitting behind the wheel of a car. I'm going to be going through drive-throughs in the middle of the night, you know? But sure, I'd like to have more stuff. But here's the thing. The truth of the matter is if I really wanted it, I mean, I'm not stupid. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. In fact, I'm not even, I, I, I'm barely smart. I'm barely smart. But having said that, if I if I really I'm smart enough to where if I really wanted these things, I could make them happen. So, am I really poor? You know? So that's the thing is uh, uh, over a lot of other people, I have that excuse me, sorry. I have that advantage to where people can sit there all day long and bitch and moan, well, I don't have this and I don't have that and blah 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 blah. Well, the difference between you and me is I have the understanding that I really don't need that stuff. You're sitting there freaking out going, what am I going to do without it? And I'm showing you what you can do without it. I'm not telling you what you can do without it because I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what you do with yourself. Honestly, it's none of my business. But if you're going to have that argument with me, there's not even an argument because I'm showing you what you can do without it. So I don't want to hear that shit. I just don't want to hear it, man. I am a suburban minimalist. I don't know if that's a thing, but I just made it up. But based on everything that I just said, I just pretty much described what that is. I don't live in a bad neighborhood. I have a roommate. My roommate has these beautiful dogs, and he's happy because I help him walk the dogs and stuff. But I don't see it like that. I see them as these awesome fucking little cool things that I get to hang out with and run around outside with them. You know, I love walking those dogs. I like hanging out with those dogs. I like that they like me to do it. I love that they love my company. I'm grateful that dogs like my company. So my happiness is completely and totally up to me. So anyway, um, I I hope I hope hope, Robert, if you're listening, um, that I was able to uh, touch on these touch on these subjects the way that you were hoping that I would. You definitely got my opinion on them, um, and it, I gotta say, I think it's awesome that you do a Habitat for Humanity thing. I think it's awesome that you help people in your free time. Um, I think that's a great example to set, and on behalf of everybody here, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you for that, for helping the underprivileged, and and using your using your abilities to in free time to help the underprivileged. I think that's fucking great, man. Um, so and we talked about a lot of different things. I figured it would we'd kind of go down a little bit of a rabbit hole of stuff, bringing this stuff up, but this is stuff I do like to talk about, and the truth is I could go on and on and on and on about this stuff, um, but the bottom line is, you know, there's no there's no reason why. I feel like these people who argue with each other over this shit, you know, they've got something wrong with them. You know, if you feel the need to fight with people and argue with people, well, man, then you're unhappy, and you got to figure out a way to be happy. But you know, if you feel the need to argue and fight with me over your beliefs, I'm sorry, but I cannot oblige you, and I wish you the best of luck. But anyways, guys, I love you very, very, very much. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really, really felt uh, I really felt just excited to be able to address these things and talk about them. And there's no group of people that I would rather talk to. And Wednesday's child, Uh, thanks for coming on. I really, really appreciate. And I'm only saying this because I don't see you that often. I don't know if you've attended the chat before too many times, um, but you're not as familiar as anybody else here, and I just wanted to point out that I really enjoyed having you here in the chat, and everybody else, uh, my usual glares. Thanks for joining, and your contribution to the chat. It's always awesome with you guys. Thank you so much, Wednesday's Child. I hope to see you again soon. And anybody listening to the replay, thanks for joining. And again, anybody, please, if there's anything that you guys want to talk about on here and want to hear me hear what my opinions are on them, shoot me an email, theglara360 at gmail.com. You can join the group. It's of the same name, the Glare, um, and I hope to see you guys there. It's gonna be easy to find, and it's a Facebook group, and it's the background picture is the same that I use here, so it shouldn't be difficult to find, and we let anybody in, and we have a nice time there. It's real laid back. I'm not as active in it as I'd like to be, um, and but uh, the more I interact, you get more out of me, the more I get from you. You know, it kind of goes both ways. So, like I said, if you guys shoot me emails, man, and they grab my eye, I'm not going to be able to wait, man, and I'm going to jump on here, you know, as many times as it takes This is the second night in a row that I got on here, and I had a really, really good time. And I can't remember the last time I went on 2 nights in a row. So I had a blast, and if I can do it every night, man, I will. You know. But so shoot me those emails. Let me know what's happening. Let me know what's going through your head, and what you want to talk about. And I'm more than happy to discuss this stuff with you guys. So I hope you guys have a great night. Thanks so much, and I will see you guys very soon.